Hey, good evening, traders. Today is Thursday, June 22nd, and I'm going to provide the weekly update a little bit early. I'm going to be out of town for the next week, and so I want to get my update out of the way so you guys know what to look for during the course of the next week while I'm out of office. I may post make a post or two while I'm gone, but don't count on it, because I will definitely be enjoying my time away. Okay, a lot has happened this week, especially on the Bitcoin front. So let's just dive right into the charts and talk about what we saw. First of all, let me just zoom in here. And one of the things, so I'm going to cover three scenarios here for future price action of the Bitcoin, and we'll go over each one of those, starting with the least probable and going on to maybe likely the most probable, in my opinion. One of the things that we talked about in my paid subscribers groups, and I realize I have all paid subscriptions on pause, but those of you who are free subscribers, you're welcome to join me and my paid subscribers for the time that I have my subscriptions paused. Again, I am not doubling my subscriptions until I'm not starting my subscriptions until I double my portfolio. And in a bear market, when I'm only in crypto, when I can only go long because that's the way Drops tab works, I do not do leverage, and I'm a swing trader. That remains rather difficult. Of course, we do best in bull markets when you go long. And if I had the option to show you short trades in this public portfolio, I certainly would do short trades. So if anybody knows of another public portfolio that would give me the option to show leverage trades, make shorts, do other things besides crypto, that would be greatly appreciated. And I certainly would advance my realms of trading. Nevertheless, here we are, and we are trading crypto, and Bitcoin is our lead dog. So, as I said in my paid subscribers groups, we were right at this area of confluence here. This is the neckline of the head and shoulders, this whole orange area here, and this descending trend line comes from December of 2021. All right, so very significant trend line. And I told my paid subscribers group that if we break above this trend line, we are going to move really quickly up to 30,500, our resistance. This is our resistance line here. This is also a descending trend line, which comes from way, way back, probably also we started this way back in December of 2020. All right, so that's even more significant and why it's such huge resistance. So we came up into our resistance once again, just as expected. I mean, so far for the last year, I've been batting 1,000 on price prediction on Bitcoin. All right, and so really, I'm probably going to just up my trading allotment to Bitcoin at the time, especially with the SEC suing Coinbase and Binance and the altcoins being in such a precarious position. So anyways, I was in 20% of my $10,000 portfolio into Bitcoin. I took half off the top here, all right? Just letting the other 50% ride, and raised my stops to my buy-in price, which was somewhere around 24,000, I believe. And this way I can guarantee profits. Okay, so three scenarios with Bitcoin. The first one is the least likely, and I'm going to zoom back out here because I want you to see this chart in full breadth and scope. And I'm going to scoot this down. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, so the least likely scenario, I've told my paid subscribers, as we've been chatting in the group, is that we just break through this resistance without any sort of pullback, and we head on up to our target here of likely around 30, now up to 40,000 before year end. All right. That is the least likely scenario. I don't envision that's happening. But if we do break that 30,500, I need a couple days of confirmation above that 30,500 for me to believe that this move is going to be real and we continue up. And at that point, that's when I look to re-enter the 50% that I took off the top. All right. So I wait for that confirmation, because that is, once we get that confirmation, then probability says that we're going to continue on to our target. But again, that is the least likely scenario. All right. So now what is more likely? More likely is that we have a pullback with two potential scenarios once we come back into this descending trend line from 2021. Okay, so now once we come back to that trend line, what is going to happen? All right, so in my opinion, most likely from once we hit back in this trend line, that is when we proceed on upwards again to retest that resistance next time we break out. All right, 3 is a charm. All right, so once we kiss that descending trend line from December 2021, in my opinion, because of the fact that my neckline here from the larger cup and handle pattern, remember this cup and handle pattern? All right, we kissed that neckline. I had been predicting that for 4 months, and finally we did that right here. All right, perfectly. And a lot of my subscribers were amazed that I was able to predict that. Well, I mean, just experience. Experience has taught me what we love to do is come back and kiss mama goodbye. So same scenario here. We have hit our resistance here, and we are going to come back and recheck that December 21 descending trend line. Almost for sure. I mean, this is, I don't know what the percent of probability is in this case for a retest, but almost 100% of the time that I watch these charts, we do love to come back and retest those major trend lines, those major levels, those major patterns. We love to come back and give it one more kiss before going up. All right, so that is the most probable scenario. Now there is one more scenario, and before I get to it, I'm just going to draw with a thicker line here so you guys can see. I'm going to change the color on that to black. All right, that's fine. That's the most probable. The other scenario here is we break down below that descending trend line once again. Now, that I see not likely because of this huge area of confluence. Remember, we got this channel here that it drew from January of this year. We have this descending trend line from December of 2021. We have the major level at 26,500, and just below that, my neckline again, 25,200. So this whole area right here is huge, huge support now. It's absolutely enormous. It would take some huge news to break us below this area. And if we do break below, at that point, I promise you, we're going to wick down and kiss that 20,000 and then come back up above this trend line here, which is from June 2022. Now, why are we going to go down to 20,000? Let me just jump over to my Bitcoin futures chart. And there is a gap here that one of my astute followers pointed out. All right. And that is right at 20,290. So if we break all of this up here, then almost guaranteed we're going to come back down and fill that gap at 20,200. It will be very quickly. It will probably take some devastating news. And by the way, guys, as long as I'm mentioning devastating news, Be very careful on exchanges right now. As you know, especially US citizens, the SEC is suing Binance and Coinbase and going after altcoins. All right, they do not. The government does not like competition when it comes to stealing your money. All right, and so they want all your money. They want CBDC. They want control of that one currency. I have never, I've studied economics for a long time, and I've seen lots of people come up with alternative currencies, but never until we've had the ability to encrypt a digital currency like Bitcoin does, like the blockchain does, has the government not been able to break or regulate that currency out of existence. All right, so regulation is coming, and the attempt by the government is to regulate it almost into obscurity. That is how they're going to try to defeat cryptocurrency and the blockchain. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. But on the issue of devastating news, you've got to be careful when you hold your money in exchanges. And actually, that is antithetical to the whole crypto movement anyways. All right, so you want to have your cryptocurrency on chain in wallets. And I know I've heard even talks of US government regulating wallet applications out of existence. In other words, making them illegal. We've come a long ways in quite a short time since 2019 to 2023. Lots of things are happening on the regulatory front, and it is causing a lot of FUD in crypto everywhere, in politics, in world, economics and health, and science. It's just causing a lot of FUD. All right, but we're specifically here talking about crypto. So when the SEC chooses to sue exchanges, that's a danger zone. You want to have most of your money on chain in wallets. I like various different wallets, anything from Exodus. There's all sorts of wallets, and you want to disperse your money there as well. Not have all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, even in wallets. Of course, everybody knows about Trezor and Ledger. Even in those cases, I would suggest getting a couple of those wallets in case you lose the mnemonic. That's a hard word to say. Phrase. The group of 16 words. You want to disperse as much as possible to kind of mitigate risks. Okay, enough ranting on that. So scenario number one, least likely, is that we just break right through that 30,500 and continue on and upwards. If we do that, again, I want to see that confirmation. 1, 2, 3 candles above that 30,500 for me to know that move is legit. Second scenario, most likely, in my opinion, we come back down, kiss mama goodbye. This huge area of confluence should hold us up, and then we come back up again and retest that 30,500. And another scenario, probably middle of the road scenario, not least likely, not most likely, is that we break through that huge area of confluence, come all the way down, fill our gap at 20,200, and then that will be a quick wick in my imagination. Come back above this level here from June 2022, and then continue to stay above that level. Maybe move sideways for a couple months, sideways to up-ish. Maybe we go back up to 30,500. I will have to reanalyze at that point. Okay, so supporting this idea of a pullback to that trend line is, and we can no longer do the US 500 because they took this, they're no longer providing data to TradingView. So we're going to have to go with the SPY, and I'm going to have to redraw some things here on the SPY. SPY is S&P 500, but here we are coming back down, and you can see greatly overbought on our RSI. Can you guys see the RSI? Yes, you can. Good. We were greatly overbought. So we are due. We are really due for a pullback now at this point. All right. And what happens when the stocks pull back? Bitcoin generally likes to follow. All right. The dollar is looking like it's still going to either go sideways or move. I have an arrow pointing down, but we have not broken that 102.2 level. So it's possible that we take another run up for a few weeks before coming back down and then testing that neckline. Remember, that neckline is very important. This neckline, which is to our head and shoulders pattern, is also a trend line that comes all the way from 1984. I've zoomed out many, many times before. I won't take the time to do that now. Once we break below that, it is bye-bye US dollar. Okay, so what does the dollar going down mean? Again, that means inflation is not taken care of, all right? And that means that the dollar is growing weaker, all right? So when you have a weaker dollar, it takes more dollars to buy a thing. This includes stocks. This means the blow-off top that I have been talking about seemingly for a year now is going to continue for some time. I mean, the market is irrational, guys, and I know that doesn't make any sense fundamentally. I know it. I 100% agree with you on that. But the market is often very irrational during times of great uncertainty. That being said, I would expect a lot of fear, uncertainty, doubt, and that irrationality is going to play into this blow-off top. But for the local future, we are overdue for a little bit of a correction, a little bit of a pullback here on the S&P and in the stock market. All right, tracking the S&P, which tracks sectors of the stock market. Big 500 companies or so that have indexes in the market. All right, so in NASDAQ is probably most correlated to crypto. The reason I haven't been tracking that is just because I had all my drawings on US 500 and it's close enough. That's all we needed. Okay, another point of correlation is the VIX has been suppressed. I say has been suppressed because it is at all-time lows, even though the world is on the brink of potentially instigating a nuclear war with Russia, and yet nobody cares. All right, so this is due for a spike as well. All right, so this correlates with everything else that I've been saying. We are due for a pullback in the market, a pullback on Bitcoin, a spike in the VIX. All right, and what Bitcoin does, Ethereum exaggerates, and that is also looking like a pullback, at least to that neckline area, possibly to the 200-day below that. It crashed below that neckline, so this I'm not sure is valid. Oh, I crossed out the inverse head and shoulders pattern. That is no longer valid. Okay, and what Ethereum does, the altcoins exaggerate even more. And many of the altcoins are showing me a bear flag. So for example, let's take a look at Litecoin, which I am trading right now. This is still a bear flag because see these pivots up here? It still didn't beat the flag, the big the high from this big red candle. So this is still a bear flag and could come down and touch that black trend line here. A lot of the other alts are showing the same thing. Take a look at Doggy Coin here. It's fighting to get out of this larger triangle, but it didn't make it out today, so it could come back down and touch the bottom side of this triangle one more time. Cardano, same thing. Bear flag here, guys. Until we beat this most recent high, this pivot high, it is just a bear flag. So we have to be careful here trading these alts. All right, guys, enough said there on the altcoins. They are still showing a bear flag. Be careful. Trade only certain alts. I would suggest the larger ones if you trade them at all. Until the next video, guys, peace, y'all.